All right, explorers and adventurers. Today we're setting off to a mysterious island, a place lost to time and shrouded in legend. We're talking about the lost ruins of Arnak, and we're not just going to skim the surface, oh no. We're going deep into the heart of this game, into the mechanics and the lore. What makes Arnak tick? What makes it so captivating? Why are players so drawn to this island?
Arnak takes these familiar game mechanics we all know, deck building, worker placement, but it adds this amazing layer, this immersive theme of exploration and discovery. It's more than just like crunching numbers. You feel like you're really there leading an expedition into the unknown.
So it's not just a game, it's like stepping into another world.
Yeah, exactly. It's about that thrill, the thrill of uncovering those lost artifacts, deciphering ancient texts, and, oh yeah, maybe even running into a fearsome guardian or two along the way.
Okay, you've definitely piqued my curiosity. So let's start with the basics. This island, Arnak, it's not just a static game board, right?
All right, there's actually two sides to the board. The bird temple side, that's the one you start with, great for beginners. Then there's the snake temple side, a bit more challenging. It throws in some really interesting twists, like rescuing survivors from a previous expedition.
Whoa, hold on. A rescue mission. So you're not just exploring, you could be saving lives.
Exactly, and that's just one example of how Arnak weaves these really engaging narratives into the gameplay. And speaking of gameplay, the resources you manage, those play a huge role in shaping your expedition's success.
I was just looking at the different resource tokens, and there are quite a few more than in your average board game. What makes them so important?
Well, think about it. Each of the 5 resources, you've got coins, compasses, tablets, arrowheads, and jewels. They all represent something. Something about the challenges of exploration. For example, compasses. Those are essential for reaching those far-off sites. And tablets, well, those might help you decipher some ancient language.
So each resource adds another layer of strategy. Like you have to really think about what you need to achieve your goals.
Exactly. You feel the weight of each decision, each resource you spend. Now, for you deck-building fans out there, I know you're wondering.
No, absolutely. Deck building is one of my favorite mechanics. What makes our next deck building stand out?
Well, it's not just about getting more powerful cards, it's about the strategic choices you make with each card you acquire. Do you use it for its travel value, to reach a distant site? Or maybe you utilize its special effect for an immediate advantage. And then there's the exile mechanic.
Exile. Sounds intense.
It is. Some cards, they get permanently removed from the game. Makes each decision feel really weighty, adds this permanence you don't always see.
You can't just go back. You have to think long term.
Exactly. And speaking of long-term goals,
To research track, right. Seems pretty central to uncovering Arnak's secrets.
it is. Imagine you're piecing together the history, the culture of this lost civilization. As you progress along the research track, you're unlocking new knowledge, upgrading your assistants. Ultimately, you're trying to discover the location of the lost temple.
Ah, yes. The Lost Temple. I bet that's where things get really exciting. But before we get ahead of ourselves, there's something I've been meaning to ask. Those magnifying glass and notebook tokens. How do they fit into all of this?
Great question. They actually represent the process of discovery. Think of the magnifying glass like those aha moments. When you make a new find, a breakthrough.
And it's not enough to just find something, right?
Right, you have to document it, analyze it. That's where the notebook comes in. You got to make the discovery with magnifying glass first. Then you can document it with a notebook.
So it's like a two-step process, just like real archaeologists, meticulous in their work. But I have a feeling it's not all peaceful research and documentation in Arnak. What about those guardians I keep hearing about?
Ah, yes, the Guardians. They're the protectors, guarding the island's most valuable sites. And let me tell you, they're not to be trifled with.
So what happens when you encounter a guardian? Is there a big battle, a showdown?
Well, not a battle in the traditional sense, but there's a price to pay.
Price. You mean to defeat them?
Not exactly. If you have one of your archaeologists at a site with a guardian at the end of the round, you get a fear card.
A fear card. What's it? Does it like jump out and scare you?
Thankfully not. But they can clutter up your deck, and at the end of the game, they deduct points. Arnak's way of reminding you that exploration can be dangerous.
So there's a risk, but I'm guessing there's also a potential reward.
You got it. If you choose to overcome a guardian, if you pay the price, you get a unique boon.
A boon, so like a special ability, a one-time power-up.
Exactly, something that can really turn the tide of the game in your favor.
So it's a trade-off. Brave the Guardian for a potential boon, or play it safe and avoid those fear cards. Tough choices already.
And then there are the idols to consider. These artifacts can either be used for immediate benefits or you can save them for endgame scoring. All comes down to your strategy.
Speaking of strategy, the rulebook mentioned idle slots on the player board.
Ah, yes. You can place an idol into a slot. Unlocks a specific ability. But here's the catch. Empty idle slots, those are worth points at the end of the game.
So do you use them for a short-term advantage or hold on to them for those precious points?
Another tough choice, right?
Lots of strategic decisions to be made, and I'm sure the Lost Temple plays a role in all of this.
It definitely does. Reaching the Lost Temple, it's not just about finding the location. It changes the whole focus of the game. It becomes a race to uncover and assemble the temple tiles.
Like a puzzle within a puzzle.
Exactly. First, you got to find the Lost Temple. Then you have to piece together the narrative it holds. Each tile represents a piece of Arnak's ancient history.
So you're not just exploring for artifacts and resources, you're uncovering a story.
That's the beauty of Arnak. It blends strategy with storytelling so seamlessly.
And for those who crave even more story, there's the solo campaign mode.
We'll definitely dive into that later, along with a few more hidden gems from the rulebook. We don't want to spoil all the surprises just yet. Welcome back to our deep dive into the Lost Ruins of Arnak. So we've talked about the island, the resources, the deck building, but what about the actual gameplay? What can you do on your turn?
Yeah, it's not just about wandering around admiring the scenery, right?
Right, you've got options. Each turn, you get one main action. That's your big move for the round. You could dig at a site, discover a new site, overcome a guardian, buy a card, play a card, research, or even pass.
Wait, pass. Why would you just sit there and do nothing while everyone else is out there exploring?
Ah, that's where the strategy comes in. Sometimes holding back, being patient, is the smartest move. Passing lets you conserve resources, maybe avoid a nasty encounter with a guardian, sometimes even triggers special abilities on certain cards.
Okay, so it's about picking your battles, knowing when to push forward and when to hang back. Makes sense. So what about those other actions? Digging at a site, that seems like a pretty essential part of archaeology.
It is. That's how you gather those precious resources that fuel your expedition. You send one of your archaeologists to an available site, pay the travel cost, which, let me tell you, getting around Arnak isn't free. And then you get your rewards, resources, bonuses, sometimes even the chance to wake up another guardian.
You mentioned travel costs. Are there ways to get around those? I love finding shortcuts.
There are. Certain cards give you discounts, let you pay in different ways, and then there's the hiring a pilot option. Basically, you're chartering a flight to get to those hard-to-reach sites. 2 coins, and boom, you can bypass those pesky travel costs.
Now that's what I'm talking about. So discovering new sites, I'm picturing like pushing the boundaries of the map, the unknown.
It is exciting and crucial. It expands the game board, opens up new possibilities. You choose a region, pay the wilderness costs, got to pay to explore those uncharted territories, and then you send your archaeologist to uncover a new site.
And I bet those new sites are where we find more of those tempting idols and those not-so-tempting guardians.
You know it. Discovering a site lets you collect any idols that might be there, which, as we discussed, can give you points or some powerful abilities. And yeah, you're likely to awaken a guardian too, adding another layer of challenge.
Okay, so let's say I'm feeling brave. I want to confront a guardian head-on. Is there like a combat system, dice rolling, all that?
No need for complex combat here. You just need to have one of your archaeologists at the guardian site. Then, you pay the cost shown on the guardian tile, usually a combination of resources, pay the price, guardians defeated, off the board, and you claim your prize. The boon.
So it's like taming a wild beast, but instead of loyalty, you get a cool one-time power. But how do I even get to those guardian-infested sites in the first place? Those pesky travel costs again.
Travel is always a factor in Arnak. It's part of the challenge, part of the fun. But like I said, there are ways to ease the burden. Some cards, like the parrot, they give you travel discounts. Others, like the sea turtle, they give you extra travel icons. And of course, there's always the trusty pilot. 2 coins for wildcard travel icon gets you where you need to go.
So it's all about finding that balance, getting the right cards, managing your resources wisely. What about those assistants we talked about earlier? Those seem like they could be a big help.
Assistants are essential. They let you do more, be more efficient. As you progress on the research track, you can recruit assistants. Each one has a special ability at the silver level. And later on, you can even upgrade them to gold level, making them even more powerful.
It's like assembling a team of experts, each with their own specialty to contribute to the expedition. So let's talk about the end game. How does scoring work in Arnak? It can't just be about whoever has the shiniest idols, right?
There's more to it than that. At the end of the 5th round, you add up points from everything you've accomplished. Research advancements, temple tiles, idols, guardians you've overcome, cards in your deck, and of course those dreaded fear cards.
Oh yeah, those fear cards can really come back to bite you, huh?
They can. Each one deducts a point from your final score. It's
Yeah.
like, there are consequences to every action, even in a board game.
So it all comes down to the choices you made throughout the game. Now, you mentioned you're a big fan of solo gaming. What about Arnak's solo mode?
Oh, the solo mode is fantastic. It's like you're going up against a rival expedition controlled by a deck of action tiles.
So it's not just playing against a static AI, there's some real challenge there.
Exactly. You have to anticipate your opponent's moves, try to block them, outmaneuver them on the research track. It's a real brain teaser, keeps you on your toes.
Even playing solo, you still get that sense of competition, that race to uncover Arnak's secrets.
Precisely. It's a great way to, practice your strategies, really dig into the game's mechanics.
Speaking of digging deeper, we've talked about the main game, the solo mode. What about that online solo campaign?
Ah, the campaign. That's where the story really unfolds. You're following the trail of Professor Kutil's lost expedition. It's got unique scenarios, specific objectives, a branching narrative that changes based on your choices.
Sounds like a whole other level of immersion.
It is. We'll definitely have to dedicate a whole deep dive to the campaign sometime.
All right, so before we move on, you mentioned some hidden gems in the rulebook. I'm all ears. Spill the beans. All right, those hidden gems you promised. I'm ready for the big reveal.
Well, one thing that really struck me, it's the cards, the variety, the depth. Each one, whether it's a basic item or a powerful artifact, it has this unique artwork, this flavorful text, a real sense of purpose.
I love that. Like each card tells a mini story.
Yeah, exactly. And they all contribute to this bigger picture, this world the designers have created.
Can you give us some examples? I'm picturing like Indiana Jones pulling out the perfect gadget at just the right moment.
Oh, there are so many. Like the Army knife card.
Yeah.
It's all about resourcefulness. You get to choose two different benefits. Or how about the bear trap? As a bit of humor and strategy, you can use it to protect your sites or even deter other archaeologists.
I love it. So it's not just about the mechanics, it's about the theme, the flavor.
Absolutely.
Right.
And those cards, they can lead to some really interesting combos, some clever strategies. The rulebook even has a section explaining some of the more subtle card interactions.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, take the journal card. Lets you research for free, but only if you use your notebook token.
So it ties back to that idea of documentation, not just discovering, but recording and analyzing.
Exactly. Makes you think like a real archaeologist.
Are there any cards that hint at the deeper lore of Arnak? You know, those ones that give you chills?
Oh yeah, a few for sure. The star charts card, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
lets you activate two different sites at the same time.
Whoa, two sites at once.
Suggests some kind of ancient connection between them, something we don't fully understand. And then there's the decorated horn. Allows you to exchange assistants.
Exchange assistance, what's that all about?
Well, it suggests these expeditions, they were dynamic, people coming and going, the research constantly evolving.
Hey, even the individual cards contribute to the overall mystery, the sense of wonder.
It's all connected. Every detail adds to the experience.
What else is hidden in the rulebook? Any obscure rules we should know about?
Well, there's the Snake Temple side of the board. We touched on that earlier. Introduces this concept of rescuing survivors from a previous expedition, one that didn't go so well.
Oh, right. Adds a whole other dimension to the game, a humanitarian element.
Exactly. It's not just about personal gain. It's about exploration, discovery, pushing boundaries, but also considering the human impact.
So it's a game that makes you think on multiple levels.
It does, and there's one more thing I wanted to mention. Those reserve tiles, they only come into play in very specific situations, like if you're running extremely low on a particular resource.
So it's like a safety net, prevents the game from getting bogged down.
Exactly. The designers thought of everything, even the most unlikely scenarios.
Well, I think we've done it. We've truly explored the depths of Arnak. Not just the rules, but the heart of this incredible game.
It's more than just deck building, more than just worker placement. It's a story, a journey, a chance to uncover ancient secrets.
And what makes Arnak truly special? It's that perfect blend of strategy and adventure. It rewards careful planning, tactical thinking, but it also embraces the unexpected, the thrill of the unknown.
It's a game that invites you to explore, to discover, to lose yourself in this world of wonder.
So, dear listeners, what are you waiting for? Gather your friends, break out this amazing game, and embark on your own expedition to the lost ruins of Arnak. Who knows what secrets you might uncover? Until next time, keep exploring.